What's up, everybody? It's Brian from USA.Patriot.Cards, and today I'm with my friend Wes from High Grade Hits. How's it going over there, Wes?
Good, man. I'm excited to be here. Excited to record this. It's gonna be a lot of fun talking to you once a week, man.
Yeah, man. This is going to be something we start and upload for Sunday mornings right before the NFL games. Just sort of a hobby roundup. Maybe talk about some of the NFL games that are on the schedule and the hobby implications, if there are any, for the week's games. Wes, you're in the land of Taylor Heineke and the Commanders.
That's right, baby. Take
Ready to
man.
sign him to a long-term deal?
I'll give him the house. Give him 40 million a year. Dak, we want Dak numbers for him.
Let me start here. Let's just do a quick hobby roundup. I'm sure all of you've heard about the PPP stuff and Jeff Wilson and the $2.2 million and the just influx of cash that happened during the pandemic. And how much did that cash prop up this hobby? Are the comps that we're seeing in the spring of 21, were they ever really even, can they be considered real comps? Can we see the move down, the downward trend that is happening today as a bust scenario, or is it really just about where it should be, and the market is really healthy, and what we just went through was a loop-de-loop, and if you stayed on the ride, then you're still good?
Yeah, I mean that's a great point, and I think thinking about 2021 and just how ridiculous some of those prices were, a big part of that for me was a lack of market information. A lot of people who were getting back into the hobby or who had PPP money or the stimulus money were looking for ways to invest alternatively. As I recall, the stock market was in a very strange place at that point. It was being propped up largely by corporate forgiveness. And so what was happening was people were looking for other places to invest. And sports card market had really been this booming industry as it went into COVID, where it was starting to ramp up and was starting to become culturally relevant again, like it was in the 80s. And then it kind of hit this really interesting point where all these people had this money and they had all of this downtime and they found their old cards, and all of a sudden this market boomed. And so as with those combination of things, I don't think we're ever going to see the market get back to that place, at least not until something similar happens, a cataclysmic financial event like with the stimulus packages and all of this money being printed and loaned out. We're not going to see anything like that again, I don't think. But I think that played a big part in this new alternative asset class coming out, a lack of market information, and people looking for places to put money that wasn't the stock market. And so when you combine all of those things, that's the result that you get. You get those 2021 prices.
And one thing that's sort of overlooked in this whole thing is that sports shut down. There was a period of time
100%.
where you could not find a game on TV to watch, and people were starting to really starve for sports, just a connection to those players that they weren't seeing play the game. And also for those bettors, the sports bettors, the DraftKings guys, the fantasy guys, even the Vegas, guys, they didn't have a way to scratch that itch. And this quickly became I think, an option for them to sink some money into somebody and risk whether that might go up or down. So, I mean, that's a lot of money when you talk about the gambling industry that is connected to the sports market.
That's a great point. And I think it kind of came on the heels of the sports car of the documentary about the Bulls, right? The Last Dance.
Yeah.
You saw Jordan cards absolutely blow up. The 1986 Fleer Jordan rookie became hugely culturally relevant again. Like I said, with this timing of all of these different clashes of my expendable income can no longer go to gambling. I'm looking for something to invest in that has risk. I like the idea of investing in sports or gambling on sports. And, the card market really satisfies a lot of those itches, whether it be investing in prospects and wanting to see that prospect succeed on the field and watch its card prices go up, or seeing a buying opportunity for a really established player who's maybe had a couple of years of bad press or bad play, and watch those markets go up again.
That's interesting. A lot of people, and I've heard this, say that sports cards are a gateway, right, to sports gambling.
Totally.
And I see it differently. I totally see it differently. I
It's the
see
other
it
way around.
I see it as they are the Suboxone or the
Totally.
methadone, if you will, for sports gamblers. It's a way to, hey, I can touch this player, I can invest in this team, but if they go out and get blown out on the road of a back to back, I don't lose everything. I still have this card,
100%.
and I'm in it for the long run.
100%, right? If a player has a bad season, his card value goes down 50%. If you lose a bet, you lose 100% of your money. So
Yeah.
it's scratching the same itch, but it's a longer term play. And you start to, and it also helps to connect with different communities, right? There's so much more of it than just gambling. It scratches a community itch. You get to meet people who have similar interests and who are betting on the same players that you're betting on. And you have the opportunity to flex business skills, negotiation skills. I don't think this card's worth this, or I think this card's worth that. And then take advantage of those market inefficiencies to be able to make money. I mean, this whole flipper thing of buy it for one price and sell it for another within 10 minutes is a very real part of this hobby. And so all of those things combined, it makes for a really interesting, enjoyable, addicting experience, right?
Yeah, you're not in your living room pacing it, hoping for a missed free throw with 12 seconds
No,
left by yourself.
nope.
You're out and about, you're mixing it up, you're gaining business skills, and a lot of these young kids are doing just that. One thing I'll say, just to close this topic, is if you've bought anything in the past 18 months, as long as you take that money, right, we're all there, but as long as you take that money and you reinvest it into a card, I think you're kind of coming out even in the wash, right? I mean, unless you take it out and then go pay your rent or go do whatever with it, as long as you stay in the game, everything's relative. What do you think?
I think that's a great point. I also think that if you're a long-term believer in this market like you and me and truly enjoy it and have found a lot of purpose and fun and community within the sports card world, you can put cash to the side, right? So for me, when I'm thinking about my card budget, I like to have a certain amount of money allocated into cards where I have that opportunity for it to go up in value. And I also like to keep a little bit of cash on hand in case a really good deal or a really interesting card comes my way that I want to bid on or buy on Instagram or, do whatever. So I think that balance is an important thing to strike, of having dry powder on the sidelines to be able to take advantage of an opportunity when a new card that you really want comes up. But for me, the value of my collection has gone down in the last 18 months. There's absolutely no point about that. But I would actually say the quality of cards that are in my collection now, as a result of the market going down, have increased. So with more industry knowledge and more understanding of what scarcity is and what collectability is, and with staying in the hobby longer and doing more transactions, I have been able to translate those skills into a better, more sustainable collection that I have now, where I'm less risk. I have less risk in my collection in certain areas, but where I am taking risk, I'm not putting as much money into it, but I still get that upside opportunity. So with more time, more repetition, I'm able to increase the quality of my collection, even though the value of it technically is less.
I'll sum all that up into my own words, kind of what I heard you say, but what I've also been doing, trading up.
Trading up.
Just trading up. So
Yep.
yeah, I think we're all seeing the numbers come down. But I went to a show today in Dallas, and it's not the normal Dallas card show that's at the convention center. It's the smaller one, and it was packed. It was packed. It was a rainy day outside. And it felt like the hobby was buzzing.
That's awesome.
Everybody was there, and yeah, it was good to see people again. And like you said, it's such a community thing. So yeah, value of the cards be damned. let's move on
and not
to. Oh, go ahead. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was
No,
going to
you go ahead.
say, with the market coming down, you're seeing really interesting cards come available that were not available previously. And that's a really exciting prospect where it's a lot easier to get into those high desirability cards at fair prices rather than people being extremely bullish on this market and saying this card's going to 3x or 5x within the next year. They're saying, I'm not really sure what's going to happen with this market. So if you're a true collector and you just love the piece, people are much more willing to let that piece go.
And I think also when you're considering which play to make as an investor, you have to wonder how many times is this card going to go up for sale? Because the more times a card goes to market, the steeper the climb, right? The harder the fight. Because when there's a downward push and lots of people bringing silvers to the market, you almost can't win in that game. So
It's true.
it's tough. I think a lot of people are sort of collating all their cards into more rare and just tougher to get, tougher to you don't see them come up as often type cards.
Yeah,
Okay, so
absolutely.
next topic that's been kind of talked about this week is the role of the hobby shop. As Fanatics gets ready to sort of, take control of this ship, whether or not they bring Panini on as part of that, or they just remain with Topps. There's no doubt that Fanatics has a different business model than the Topps and Panini models that have existed, up to now. Mainly, what they're saying they want to do, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is move away from this allocation system where these people that have been customers of Topps and Panini for a long time, where these high volume buyers, right, they earn this allocation of product, and then they are able to sort of set the value on these wax boxes based on the secondary market. So for instance, if Panini puts out a box of NBA hoops, the suggested retail might be $120. These
Yeah.
people have these allocations are sitting on it, and then they're selling it for $400, $500, $600 a box, depending on the rookie class. So Fanatics wants to come in and sort of do away with that, take out the middleman, more of a direct to consumer approach, I think. And so that brings up the question: what's going to happen to these hobby shops that have been there maybe 20, 30 years? You might walk into them and the guy may or may not be in the back where you can't see him. He might not be as friendly as you might think they should be. They're older, just this whole dusty card shop mentality. Is there room for that? I know a lot of people are saying that Fanatics is gonna want card stores to move to this like more the sneaker approach, where the show or the stores are curated and everything has beautiful displays and the lights coming down and beaming. I mean, are they gonna set a standard too high for some of these dinosaur shops to stay relevant?
That's a great question. And I think more will be revealed on that front. If I were going to speculate on it, I'd say that there are different types of people who collect. I think people who collect vintage and who have a certain nostalgic relationship with those hobby shops will continue to support them. On the flip side, these ultra modern collectors, these kind of this cultural zeitgeist of sneakerheads who came into the hobby, who are flipping ultra modern guys, who are speculating on your Lucas, your Pat Mahomes, your Trevor Lawrences, the younger class of, potential future GOATs. That is more, and even in breaker culture, right? These backyard breaks or bleacher breaks or whatever, that kind of new age of the hobby and this 21st century whatnot, Instagram, Facebook, that's an entirely separate thing, right? With the allocations that Fanatics are going to set where they do direct to consumer, they have a business model where they sell everything direct to consumer already, whether it be jerseys or memorabilia or whatever, they're selling them direct to consumer. So they have that pipeline already built in. Now, what I love about a hobby shop is that you're able to build a community within that hobby shop. So if the way that Fanatics were going to do it were the only representation in the hobby, then you wouldn't even necessarily have card shows. You would have people dealing entirely online. You would have people dealing, you'd be buying directly from Fanatics. You'd be ripping. You'd be buying with breakers and getting all of that stuff online versus going to the show, getting a deal there, going to the hobby shop, seeing what new inventory they have. When I go to a hobby shop and I have one that I go to and I can sign with, I go there to support them, one, and two, to have conversations with other locals about cards in between the big shows that I'm attending. So I work a full-time job, I'm in school. When I have that itch that I want to scratch on a Saturday afternoon, I go to the hobby shop, I talk to the people there about the hobby. Maybe I buy a cheap box or something, but my relationship with the hobby shop is really more community focused. And so as long as this hobby remains about community as opposed to buying directly from the consumer, I think hobby shops absolutely have a role in the future of the hobby.
The only thing I would say about that is that some of these hobby shops absolutely survive on the allocation and on the markup of these boxes. And when customers are able to go directly to the manufacturer, and there is no secondary market, I mean, I can't think of the last time I bought a box at a hobby shop. A, I
Yeah.
don't really rip, but B, I priced out some Topps Chrome stuff recently, and the hobby shop I go to was, I don't know, I think the boxes were selling for like 180 on eBay, and they were stickered at like 240 at the hobby
Right.
shop. So even if I wanted to rip that stuff, I'm not going to be able to bring myself, as much as I might like these guys, or they might host this trade night or not. It's like a $60 donation that
Totally.
they're asking for. So how do these
Yeah.
guys stay in business if, I mean, what's going to pay their bills to
No,
have our
totally. No, I have absolutely no idea. And I think, they could do other things like auction items. Like the hobby shop that I go to is mostly based on auctioning like rare memorabilia items. Like that's where they make most of their money. They don't even get an allocation. They were hitting target just like the rest of us in 2021. I think it's going to be hard for them to stay in business. And as somebody who enjoys the online community of the hobby that we're in, it feels a little obsolete because it's becoming something where more money is being poured into it. There's more relevance, there's more stake. It's not just a simple, I like this card, I want to buy it, I don't care what the price is, I'm just going to buy it, or I'm just going to buy this box, because I can go right on eBay and I can see you have to outcompete what the online prices are doing. And I just don't see a future where they're able to do that necessarily.
I think if they really, really want to stay in business and it's something that they're super passionate about and they're willing to adapt, one way they might be able to do that is to totally turn this around, and it's customer service. I mean, just through and through, you need to not only greet your customer. I mean, I go to
Build relationships. You got to build relationships.
you either go into one where they're super friendly, and they'll sit and they'll talk to the educated, and they'll sit and they'll talk to the uneducated, or
Absolutely.
you get the ones that won't even look up from their phone unless they're,
Yep.
their big fish spender comes in, and then they're boys, and then you can see this, oh wow, those guys they're actually like cool with each other. I wish that he was cool with me like that. I mean, I've had
Totally.
like so many times.
I've had that
Well,
happen to me everywhere, man. It's like they don't give a shit unless you've been there for 10 years or whatever.
yeah, it's almost like a lunch table in high school where it's like, oh,
So
well,
true.
I know you, and I don't think that they're going to be able to rely on that model. They shouldn't. I mean, it's a horrible business model. But if they host trade nights, I paid $10 to go to a trade night. Hang
Sure.
out with people, taking in like grading, bulk submitters for grading. Even listing eBay items for people, maybe handling the shipping and that
Yeah.
sort of thing. Just getting creative with
There's 100 ways to make money in this hobby. There's 100 ways to make money. And, if you're a hobby shop, that's your job. right? It is your job to do that. And this hobby is based really on relationships. I would give you more value for your cards just because I know you and I are friends and I want to deal with you again in the future. And I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt on things versus a stranger who's trying. I don't know if they're trying to get one over on me. I don't know if they're trying to win the trade necessarily. And I know what their intentions are behind the trade. Or I don't know what their intentions are behind the trade if I'm just trying to make money or whatever. But with you, I'm like, Brian's a true collector. He's going to value his cards at the comps. He's not going to, because he has integrity around the hobby versus somebody who I don't know anything about. And so that the core of that relationship and that trust is something that hobby shops can build because they're just there. I'm going to walk in off the street. I start talking to them about the hobby. They can know if I know what the fuck I'm talking about or not and want to build a relationship with me, right? It's like the same thing with comic book shops or game shops. You know, you want to go and play Magic the Gathering with your friends, or even fucking Settlers at Catan, right? Like there are people there who want to talk to you and like enjoy this niche thing that you're interested in. And if they're not doing that and they're not building those relationships, I'm going to spend my money elsewhere, right? But I'm willing to pay a little bit more for the community and a real relationship. It's like the same idea of like why you support your local grocery store that charges a little bit more than the Whole Foods next door, right?
Right.
The same thing. Why wouldn't you go to them? You're supporting a local business.
I do know this. There have been a lot of guys that in this whole PPP era that decided I want to do this for a living. I love
Totally.
cards. I'm passionate, right? And so however they did it, they managed to open a store or a breaking service or whatever. Specifically here, I'm talking about the brick and mortar stores. You're going to see those things dry up like. I'm trying to think of a cool analogy, but I can't. You're going to see a lot of those things.
Like the Sahara.
Like the Sahara. I was thinking about like pimples on a teenager's face or something, but whatever.
I was thinking much dirtier than that, but good for you.
Either way, you're going to see a lot of these guys close up shop. You're going to hear from a bunch of YouTubers that, here's a hobby and is your LCS closed and all that, but just realize it's going to be transitional. Sports is only going to remain such a huge part of the culture and the escape in this country. We're seeing
absolutely
more of that every day. And I think that as we merge, Josh and I were talking on the way to the show this morning about how getting a card of a player you like or a team you like it's literally like owning a piece of that player or a piece of that team, right?
It's a stock. You're buying a piece of stock.
In a player and a team. And so when you go to watch the Chiefs on Sunday, it's like you're on the sideline. It's like you're in. I mean, it really puts you in the game. It really gives you that juice. Even if you're watching the Mavericks every game, there's a reason to watch. You got Luka cards,
and it creates sentimentality, right? I bet on this player and he hit. I'm a fan of that guy for fucking life.
Yeah, we won tonight. That type of thing,
right? No, absolutely. It builds a connection with that player or that team that's beyond the three teams that your dad chose for you when you were 6. You know what I mean?
And Charizard isn't like competing every night, so you know what I mean. We don't. So
no, it's true. It's like almost like it's like the vintage versus the ultra modern argument for me.
Sorry to interrupt you. That we could do a whole show on vintage versus modern and what that buyer is for each one of those, and is there such thing?
Totally.
And yeah.
But absolutely. We'll save that. Okay, what do you say we move on to the games this weekend?
Let's go for it.
For the viewer who doesn't know Brian and I, we're big NFL guys. I watch all of the NFL games every Sunday. I'm glued to my couch watching Red Zone. It's my favorite day of the week. It's a borderline religious experience for me. And so what I want to do is I want to go through these games with you, Brian, and I want to see what your hobby thoughts are and what the implications of the game are for the hobby. And the first game that I'm looking at is kind of a stinker, but could be a really good game. It's going to be Vikings-Lions.
So I'm looking down at my phone as I need to visualize these teams. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you 20 seconds of sort of free flow thought. Okay. And we'll see if you can pick anything out of that and add to it. Vikings, Lions, 10-2 Vikings at the Lions. If I'm not mistaken, the Lions just came off a big win.
They're favored, Brian.
What's that?
They're favored against the Vikings.
And they are at home, -2.5. I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I'd be all over the Lions. There's a reason they're favored, and I can't figure out why. Justin Jefferson continues to be the best receiver in the game. It's going to be really hard for Joe Public to bet against Kirk Cousins. Is Kirk Cousins playing?
Yeah, he's playing. He's playing.
How are the Vikings 2.5-point favorites?
No, the Lions are favorites, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, how are the Lions favored?
Because they're red hot, dude. Because they're red hot. They've won like 3 or 4 games in a row. Their offense looks lights out. They have an outside shot at making the playoffs, and they've just been beating Vegas the last few weeks. I think it's a sucker's bet. I think people are fading the Vikings. They think they're kind of pretenders, and the Lions are coming on really strong. And so when you clash those two things together, it's almost Vegas baiting you to be like, bet the Lions, but I think, or they're baiting you to say, bet the Vikings. I'm torn on that one, but let's talk about the hobby version of that. Justin Jefferson, absolutely red hot. Do you think his market can go up as a wide receiver? He's already had the best 3 seasons of all time for a new wide receiver in the league. Do you see his prices continuing to go up?
I don't know much about wide receiver market. The only real wide receiver I ever buy is CeeDee Lamb because he's down here in Dallas. He being a Viking, I think, is a minus, not a plus. Mm-hmm. We've seen great receivers before. I think you can go out and get an Odell Beckham Jr. card for next to nothing.
Yeah.
I had a little FOMO with Justin Jefferson as he was emerging, but I'm completely cured of that now. I can just sit back and watch him and enjoy him. Same thing with Jamar Chase. I had some FOMO with him.
Yeah.
But no, I think I can just stick to my CD if I have a wide receiver itch. I'm not tempted, but I can't say the rest of the hobby's not tempted, but I wouldn't invest in Justin Jefferson at this point, no.
I think his historic start is really hard to sustain. And yeah, like you said, all of these great wide receivers, like what is a Tyreek Hill contenders doing? I bet it's next to nothing. As somebody who PCs Terry McLaurin, like as a Commanders fan, he's like basically the only person worth PCing in the last 10 years. And I love him. And his prices are dirt cheap. I can go and get a sick Terry McLaurin, a 1-of-1 for less than $500. And that is a sign of people. I just think that the attention span for prospecting wide receivers is a lot shorter than with quarterbacks.
Yeah, I agree.
So next game we got Ravens Steelers, and Lamar is out for 1 to 3 weeks with a PCL sprain.
What's
in his knee? It's part of the knee. It's not as serious as an ACL or an MCL. He basically sprained a part of his knee that is going to keep him sidelined. This was last game.
Yeah, what happened?
He got hit in the Broncos game, and he came up limping off the field. And Huntley came in. Tyler Huntley came in, who's basically he's a good player. He's the poor man's Lamar Jackson. I mean, that offense is built around guys like that, and he's a system guy. I think he's a good quarterback. Yeah, he's Lamar Jackson. There's like no doubt that he's not as good as Lamar Jackson. That's a fact.
At 8-4, the Ravens are kind of coasting a little bit. They're going to make the playoffs, right?
Well, that's the thing is the latter part of their schedule is extremely easy, but they're fighting a lot of injury, and they've really underperformed. Like I think they've been leading by 10 plus points in all 4 of their losses. And they lost all 4 of those games. And so they've been kind of a bummer. Like, you can see the potential with them, but it just doesn't feel like it's going to come together at the right time with like what you're seeing with the Bengals. Like, so I think the Bengals have a real opportunity to take the North.
I'll say Kenny Pickett. I'm in on him. I mean, I'm still watching.
He's good.
I'm not out.
He's good.
Sure. All right.
No, he's good. He's good. I think he's getting better and better each week. Browns Bengals. This is a good one.
So Joe Burrow's the hottest thing on planet Earth, I think, right now.
He
beat Mahomes 3 times in a row, and how can you not be in terms of quarterbacks in the hobby? I was afraid of this because I got off all my Joe Burrows. Now I did it for.
I did not.
I did not. I did it for a Tiger Stripe Luca Prism PSA 10 rookie, right? And
you did it for your heart. You did it for your heart.
My soul.
You did it for your soul, my man.
And an immaculate first off the line premium edition acetate RPA. Got it out.
That was a sick card. That's a sick card.
Yeah, I love both those cards. I do both those deals over again. But as a former Joe Burrow holder of a big bag, I was kind of liking the slow start that he got off to, and then now I'm just kind of like, yeah, here we go. This is the Joe Burrow I knew and loved.
He's gonna get red hot at the right time, just like he did last year. I bought his stuff on the dip. I got some really sweet Burrow stuff low. I got a Optic Downtown. I got his Optic Downtown PSA 10. I got an NT auto. I got a Contenders variation auto. I got his Purple Stars Optic PSA 9 auto, and I got, like a Hollow 10 Optic, Red Ice Prism. I went hard on Burrow, and it's paying off. Like, every time I post, so I posted a little reel of me showing all of my Burrow cards on Instagram, and I got probably a dozen DMs about them. Like, it was right after the Chiefs game too. That's huge W. Huge W.
That's what happened last year. I grabbed as much Burrow as I could after they beat the Chiefs at home in the regular season, and then when they beat them in Kansas City in the playoffs, I was like, wow! I know, man. Literally just like hit the jackpot. So much.
That's how we met. That's how we met, Brian. Over a Silver Prism PSA 10. That's right.
You're right. You fleeced me in both deals.
I did fleece you.
But I was rolling with the kid all the way through the Super Bowl. I didn't see him being stopped, and it was a mistake. But it's never been easy for me to jump when somebody's hot. It's one of the hardest, and we don't have to get off the weeds on this, but it's a hard thing.
So fucking hard
to sell at the
what
top.
If? Because what if, Brian? Because what if? Because what if?
I think the FOMO at the top of moving off a really smoking hot player is a little stronger than the FOMO about, hey, this guy's getting good and I need to get his stuff before everybody else figures him out. You know what I mean?
Yep. 1,000%.
FOMOs are very powerful, and I am totally allergic to FOMO because it affects me in a major way.
Here's the problem. You get sick offers at the top, and then if you hold for too long, the offers become not as good. And then you go, man, I got offered $5,000 for a Silver Prism PSA 10 at the end of 2021 last year, and I didn't take it. And I didn't take it. I traded it to your ass.
Yeah. Well, hey, and you know what? In the Burrow market, this might be the hottest time to sell, even if they do go into the playoffs.
I agree.
I think the perception is that, hey, his cards haven't jumped too much yet. Let me still get in on the way up. And even if they do win and they go into the playoffs, that whole thing about I'm going to take this ride on the way up is gone, right? And so
absolutely,
all these Burrows come to market, and
it gets flooded, dude. That's the problem now. And this is kind of the theme that we were talking about before of just cards coming onto the market so frequently. It's really hard to realize those 2 to 3x jumps because the market, as soon as Burrow gets hot, flooded with Burrow.
Where's Burrow? Where's Burrow?
Yep. So and then you go look at PWCC or Golden or eBay. It's like dozens and hundreds of fucking auctions of just like the same kind of few cards.
Are you going to sell your Burrows?
Man, I'm going to trade them.
Okay.
I'm going to trade them. That's what I'm going to do. because I want full value and I want people to, it's hard for me to come off of them. I'm going to be honest with you. And the right deal just hasn't presented itself. I'll be honest with you. But I've marketed them a little bit, but I want to hold on to like the Optic Downtown. Like I think that's going to stay in my collection forever. But there's some other ones that I'm getting the Contenders graded right now. So we'll see how that goes. But I don't know, man. We'll see. I think the asset manager in me says sell off a little bit when it's hot and refocus. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of a couple of them and keep a few so that I'm hedging where I'm saying, okay, I got to realize a little bit of this pop, but I also am satisfying the degenerate gambler in me who says he's going to ride it to the Super Bowl.
Right. Hey,
that's what I do.
What are we doing on time? Just to check in.
I think we got
how long are we going? Do you have a clock over there or anything?
35, 40 minutes or something like that. We can cut it too. We'll cut.
Well, okay. Yeah. Well, we might just throw this all on because it's good stuff. I wouldn't even know where to cut it except right when you said we can cut it. But I might even just leave that in.
Just fucking leave it in, man. Just leave it in.
You're getting us raw and unfiltered. I just don't want to go put people to sleep before, if you're watching this in church with an earpiece, bravo, nice move. I think that's
very good move. Very good move.
We can get people to watch this Sunday morning show in church.
We're competing with the Lord, my friend. Competing with the Lord. That's right.
All right, what's next?
Jets, Bills.
Jets, Bills. Okay, here goes my free flow. Mike White. Hope you didn't buy any of his cards. I'm still a believer in Zach Wilson. I'd probably look for a steal on one of his cards right now. I mean,
there's plenty of them out there. There's plenty of them out there.
Yeah, and then Josh Allen looks healthy. He looks like he's going to be a force to reckon with. And there's 3 quarterbacks in the AFC that are getting ready to, that Monday Night Football promo where.
Absolutely.
To these,
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a big Carrie Underwood, waiting all day for Sunday night guy. I sing along every single time. Hey, Jack, it's a fact. The show's back in town. That's my jam. But let me ask you this question about the Jets Bills, and specifically about the Bills. How do you feel about Von Miller tearing his ACL and being out for the rest of the season? Because that was their major offseason ad that thought that they were going to put them over the top and be Super Bowl contenders.
It's huge. That's humongous, especially against a guy like Joe Burrow, who they could potentially face. The more pressure that you put on Joe Burrow, I mean, that's how you have to beat him. Just like anybody, I think, except Mahomes. You don't blitz Mahomes. I hope you don't blitz Mahomes.
But passer rate's pretty good. It's pretty good against the blitz. It's like historically good. He wants you to blitz him. Absolutely.
I think it hurts them. I think it might hurt. It might have hurt their chemistry and their kind of morale for a minute there, but they'll be back. They're such a tough team, and they're battle tested after last year. Josh Allen's not hurt. He's a monster. He scares me.
Yeah, man, I think he could beat anybody. I think the ceiling of that team is higher than just about any other team. It's just going to come down to if they can realize it at the right time. And that's the crazy thing about the NFL playoffs. It's like you can be the best team all year and have one bad game and you're done, But the Bills scared the crap out of me. I think they're going to turn it on. I think they're pissed off from last year. I think they're going to come out and the first team that they play, they're going to kick the living shit out of them, no matter who it is in the playoffs.
I think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, but I don't think anybody in the NFL is scared of the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
Interesting.
I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, Valdez-Scantling is just about the worst receiver I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I
think their floor is the highest. Like I think they just can't play. They have to play more mistake-free than the Bills do, right? Because they're just less explosive.
Well, yeah. I mean, Kelsey got stripped and they lost the game. And in Cincinnati, they had that game, right where they wanted it. But anyway, next game.
He's going to win the MVP, so he's still a good hold.
I don't know. Let me think. Is there just one NFL MVP or is there an NFC and an AFC?
No, there's just one, but there's players of the year for both.
Now, I'd say Jalen Hurts.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Who means more to their team, Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts?
I mean, the Eagles are 10-1. Is that right?
That's right. They did. They lost one game. They
Look,
also had a really, really easy schedule in comparison to the Chiefs. I also think you take Patrick Mahomes out of that offense. What's their record?
It's dog shit.
So that's my point. If you take Jalen Hurts out of that offense, what's their record? Probably 6-6. How many games do you think he adds, victory-wise?
And this is where you get in the discussion of what is an MVP? Is it the best player, or is it, who has?
It is the most valuable player to their team.
It's not the best. So it's not the most talented player.
It's the most valuable.
Yeah. So that's where I think Jalen Hurts has an argument. I mean, I think to lead that team to 10-1, I mean, but that's all going to be put to bed.
That team is crazy good. They have blue chippers on the offensive and defensive side of the ball in a way that the Chiefs do not. They have A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders is a beast, Devontae Smith is a beast, Dallas Goedert, top 5 tight end. Their offensive line is sick. They have all these blue chipper defensive players. The Chiefs, they have Travis Kelce.
They got a really nice linebacker, Bolton. I like him. And he's Bolton's from my area. Actually, he went to a high school that I used to teach in that district. I didn't teach at that high school, but and I don't like him just because he's local. But look at Bolton for the Chiefs. He's middle linebacker. Okay. He's stock, man. I mean,
Nick Bolton.
Yeah, yep, Nick
Bolton. Yeah, he's good. I think I pulled him in some random breaks I did. Anyway, let's stay on topic here. We got a few more games to just power through. Texans, Cowboys. Kyle Allen. He's a big buy right now.
No. Pillsbury throws boy, dude.
The Millsbury throw boy. He's special.
Okay, sorry. Millsbury throw boy is he's
benched
on the sideline.
He got benched, dude. Yeah. Huh? He's benched right now. They're gonna draft a quarterback. They have the first overall pick. That's the problem with investing in Davis Mills, is that they're going to get a blue chip. They're going to get a top prospect in the draft next year. It's just not a good buy. He's still a good quarterback, but it's like Gardner Minshew. It's like Gardner Minshew was a 6th rounder. He's better than 10 quarterbacks in this league, but he's a backup because he was a 6th rounder. Davis Mills was a 3rd rounder. You're just not going to bet the barn on that kind of guy, especially when you got the first overall pick next year. That's why I'm not a buyer on Mills.
But his nickname is so great.
Maybe it's so cash. That's the problem. That's the problem, my man. Is that you want to believe in a guy, you want to believe in that guy. You absolutely do.
Somebody had to be sitting in their living room on the couch, and it just struck like a bolt of lightning, downloaded from God himself. Millsbury.
That's right. It was like they were meditating in a monastery, and it all clicked, and that guy's life was forever changed.
That's right.
Anyway,
Cowboys, I'll add. They're rolling. They're setting up for.
They're scary, man. They're scary. They're so scary.
Present for all of us Dallas fans when they, I think, go into Philly and roll that night. It's going to be great. I continue to love Micah Parsons more and more. I think you know why, but yeah, I'm looking forward to a double-digit roll.
He's a Patriot.
Yes, sir. Just like me.
He's Patriot. And then we got Eagles G-Man. Hurts continues to roll. Giants continue to slide.
Giants might get a win right here. Is this in New York?
Yes.
Okay, let me guess on the line. I don't have it in front of me. Eagles -3.5.
I'm looking it up.
I like Brian Daboll.
6.5 favorites. 6.5 point favorites. Yeah. Daboll's good. That team is just not as talented, and the Eagles are really good, man. I just think they're too explosive. And if they dominate time of possession, if they, the Giants, like the Commanders gave the blueprint for how to beat the Eagles, which is to keep Jalen Hurts off the field. And I think they have a chance of doing that. But I think the Eagles, Hurts played too well last week. The Giants just don't have enough firepower. I mean, if the Giants win, it feels a little flukish.
Fair enough.
Jags Titans. Trevor.
Titans
My
defense
boy.
is so good. They're so good. It's in Tennessee. I can see. Uh, yeah, that's a lovely car. Show that again.
I don't know if you can see it very
Move
well
that
because of all
glare
this
off of it. There we go. Oh, it's so beautiful. And what do you
gold.
what do you have on that value wise?
Oh, I have no idea. Um,
That's not
Probably
something
like
that you would trade or trade sell or sell. You're just kind
not
of
right
tucking
now.
it away.
No, not right now. He's a sell going into next season, but I'm gonna still ride him. I'm riding him until the Jags are a playoff team.
I saw a Instagram short with him on the field trying to talk smack, and it's like Trevor Lawrence can't smack talk or whatever, and he
Oh
can't.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like I don't know, he's like goofy out there talking crap to people. It's pretty funny, but
Well, you know who else couldn't talk smack was Andrew Luck, and he was pretty good.
that's literally the most random comparison I think I've ever like. Where did
Number one, because I'm talking about prospects. I'm talking about
Andrew
can't
Luck's hard,
miss. Yeah, it's
right?
because he retired. But when he was in the league, he was special, man. He was special. He just fell out of love with the game because of all the injuries. It's actually you should listen to a podcast for all of our viewers. There's a podcast about Andrew Luck's road to retirement, and it is a great, really good. It was done by The Athletic. It's like 5 parts, maybe like 3-hour listen. If you're ever interested in what happened to Andrew Luck leading up to him retiring, it's very, very good.
Noted. What's next?
Yes. We got Chiefs Broncos.
What's the Broncos record right now?
Dog shit. I think they're like 4-9, maybe.
I just pray that everybody gets out of that game healthy. I think the Chiefs should be fine at this point in the season for Kansas City. Can somebody establish themselves as, I don't know, any pressure to take some of the pressure off of Kelsey? Because I just worry that it's going to come down to Valdez-Scantling and Sky Moore to make a big play in a playoff game, and I don't know if they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, people were kind of saying the same stuff about Gabe Davis last year, and then he had that 4-touchdown game. Like, I think there's possibility for emergence, and Juju's a great possession receiver. Their running game is more interesting with Pacheco instead of Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
He's good, yeah.
He's a good player. So I think, I mean, look, man, you just need Mahomes. I mean, fuck, Brady won with like, that 2018 season when they won 13-3. It was like him and Edelman who were out there doing it. And then Gronk like had 1 catch. So
That's just it. But you had Edelman and Gronk. You had 2. I don't think Kansas City has 2.
no, I don't think they do either. I just, I think they've proven enough that they're a legit team without Hill.
What happened where's Kadarius Toney at?
He's played a couple games. I think he had like 1 nice catch. I think he got injured again now. I think he's like out.
He is such a bum. Like,
He is,
really
man.
Injured again. He's making a rap album.
Is he?
Oh, yes, he's a rapper.
I bet it's really bad.
He don't want to play
it's really bad.
Let's just get him get the Chiefs out of this game healthy, and we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Panthers, Seahawks.
Panthers, Seahawks. Sam Darnold, start number 2.
Your boy.
Going for a win streak. As you might know, if you're a follower of my channel, I did make a small Sam Darnold play a couple of Dallas card shows ago. I got the red, white, and blue, which is actually a pretty short print auto out of Prism, PSA 10 rookie, and I got a silver 10 rookie. I don't know. I'm having fun with it just because I kind of made this like proclamation that
you bought it from the other Sam Darnold collector.
Hit from the other one, and then Baker. This is pre-Baker, right? This is pre-Baker, and so then Baker comes, and all I hear is Baker, and then Baker's moved right on along to the Rams, where I'll give him this much: he did lead them on a 98-yard game-winning drive, but There was a pass interference penalty, and then there was a 15-yard unsportsmanlike when the Rams were trying to hurry up and set the ball, and somebody on the Raiders just smacked it out of Baker's hand.
Yeah.
So there's 30 some odd yards right there. I don't know. Baker.
It's elite. It's elite. That's all there is to say about it. That doesn't happen if Baker isn't out there. How do you know? How can we say otherwise? He just wins, baby. He's just got that. He's got that factor. He's got the X factor. And then Geno Smith is slinging it like a top 10 QB. No hobby. Love. He's doesn't have the upside, but really fun story. I'm a big fan of Geno Smith. Keep rocking and rolling. Buccaneers, 49ers. This is a fun one. This is a fun game. Brock Purdy.
Are the Buccaneers like pretty much going to go to the playoffs?
They're 6-6 right now. I think the next best team is 5-8. And they are, that division is still open, but they have a pretty easy remaining schedule. A lot of division games. Division's dog shit. I think they're just going to kind of limp in unless they can really turn it on here. But they're gonna limp in.
We'll look here in a minute when we're done at the playoff tree before we sign off. But you said it was 49ers at Tampa. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the young quarterback and what he's going to do. I mean that's where they're going and staying, right? I mean, Purdy's going to take the rest of the season and into the playoffs, right?
So if you're a big podcast guy, yeah, he will be. I think Jimmy G's out at least 7 weeks. There's a chance he comes back in the late playoff rounds. If you like the Ringer podcast network, which I do, there was about a 20-minute segment on Brock Purdy 2 days ago that was pretty good and gave a really interesting perspective on who he is and where he's going for this team going into the final stretch. He was the second stringer before they signed Jimmy G back. He got a lot of reps, worked on the scout team, and was going up against that elite San Francisco defense. And he would cook them in practice. So he has the respect of that team. They're all in on him. They're fully confident in him. He doesn't strike me as like deer in the headlights, 7th rounder. I have no business being out here. Like, I think he can sling it a little bit and at least be serviceable. And if there's one coach who can get the most out of a quarterback, it's Kyle Shanahan.
Where is he from? Where did he play ball?
He like set records at some dog shit institution. Let me check.
Okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll have the viewers do that for their homework.
Iowa State. There you go.
That's all right. Big school. They're good. Cyclones. All right. Is that it?
Dolphins Chargers. That's a good one. The 2020 clash.
I said as the Dolphins started on this probably the hardest 3-game stretch of any NFL team this year. They're on the road to the 49ers, right? All the way from Miami out to San Francisco. And then they're in the San Diego the next week. Do they take a flight home for like part of the week and then fly all the way back out to the West Coast, or are they out there all week?
That's a good question. I would imagine that they probably leave them out there all week. They might go home. I have no idea. I have no idea. That's a good question.
I think they leave them out there all week too. And then after the Chargers, they fly back all the way across the country to Buffalo. So you're looking at a team in the Dolphins that could be riding a 3-game losing streak going into week 15, I think.
I know, man. So them and the Ravens both look like they can run out of gas here at the end. We'll see, though.
We'll see. If there's ever a team prime for the take, it's the Chargers. I mean, they got a horseshit coach. Herbert's amazing. I still am fully on board with him, but nobody can
I heard a good
healthy.
take on Herbert recently. It was like when you watch Herbert play quarterback, it's like he's making the hardest throw ever on every single drop back. That throws that like other quarterbacks in the league just simply can't make. But because the situation around him is so dog shit, it just doesn't buoy him in any way. Like he totally props that team up. He completely props that team up.
That reminds me of Andrew Luck, a guy that was totally under duress all the time, but was so good that he'd make a throw out of nowhere.
He took
But
that 2-14 Colts team to 11-5 in his first season, man. He
yeah,
had no one. He was throwing it to like fucking grocery baggers and firemen. I mean, he was amazing. He was amazing. Pats Cardinals.
Patriots Cardinals. Oh God. I still believe in Mac Jones.
You like Mac. I like Mac too. I think he gets a lot of hate. He gets too much criticism. I think he's got a little swag to him. I like Mac Jones, man. I do.
Well,
I'm rooting for him.
Aren't you the Wonderlic guy? Weren't you trying to tell me how important the Wonderlic scores are? Wasn't that you?
At the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I think we had that
No, I
conversation.
wasn't a big. No, I didn't say that I was a big Wonderlic guy. I just said that my whole take on the Patriots going into the season was that they were going to be a 9-8 team, and that's looking pretty darn spot on because Bill Belichick is an elite coach. That's all I said. That the floor with the Pats is always 9-8 because they're always going to win a few games based on coaching alone. That was my whole thing.
I was talking to somebody that was talking about the Wonderlic scores and how Mac Jones had an off the charts Wonderlic score. And I'll tell you what, I saw him play Thanksgiving night. Was it against the Vikings?
Yeah.
And he looks good. He looks good. He's a quick decision maker. He gets rid of it quickly. They need a big time receiver, just like
he makes big time throws. He makes big time throws.
And
the advanced statistics stuff on him is interesting.
The thing I love about Mac Jones is that he's dirt cheap right now.
Oh yeah,
Prism Silver PSA 10 goes for. I think it's under $100.
Dude, that's crazy. I fucking sold one of those for $600 the beginning of the season. They're crazy.
Hey, if you're new to the hobby, listen to this. If you're new to the hobby and you like football, okay, and you want to get a quarterback, right? Under $100, go get you a PSA 10, Mac Jones, Prism Silver, tuck it away, and just see what happens. Because it's never going to be a $10,000 card, but hey, it could be a $600 card someday. It could be a $1,000 card someday.
Like next season. Like next season, it could be a $600 card.
And it's not a
quick
big
flips.
Quick flips. This is where the sports card industry is a Suboxone or methadone to sports gambling, because hey, don't put that $100 on the Lions as favorites.
Vikings.
Yeah, $100 in a Mac Jones Silver PSA 10, and you got something, and you got vested interest in the Patriots throughout the whole offseason. And I don't know, it just goes a long way. It puts you right there with Belichick, and I don't know. I think I'm probably gonna.
I like it. No, I think it's a great idea. I might go buy a couple of them myself. I like that.
We're on the same page there. Are we done, or are we got any more? Or?
Those are the games, my man.
Those are the games. Hey, quickly, and hey, if you're with us to the end, let me just say thank you. This is actually, I'm going to put this up on Saturday night, so some people might fall asleep to this. Who knows? Like I said, my goal is to get you in church with one earbud in. And because you don't need to look at us, you can just put us in your pocket and listen to us.
I wouldn't want to look at us, frankly.
Wouldn't want to look at us. But hey, listen, if you ever do listen to it in church, just give me a little comment down below. Make my day, because I don't know why that's just such a something that I would love to hear. That hey, we got listened to in church. Let's look at one more.
I'm in the DMV area. We don't do church around here. We're kind of Gotham.
I'm in the Southern Bible Belt, so we definitely do. Let's look at the playoff tree as it currently stands. Just quickly, we don't have to make too many comments. I know we're going long here, but like we said, we really appreciate you sticking with us. As it stands, here we go. As it stands, the number one seed in the AFC is the Buffalo Bills. They would have a first round bye. That would put the New York Jets at Kansas City. Don't see too much of a problem there for Kansas City. Then you would have Miami at Baltimore, the two teams that are going backwards. How would you feel about that in round one?
I think the Dolphins got them beat just because they can't match them point for point without Rashad Bateman.
And then the 5-4 game would be Cincy at Tennessee. That's a rematch from last year, is it not?
Yeah. It is.
Man,
they won a stinker of a game, like 19-16. The Bengals
Tannehill played like caca in that game.
They really did. He threw an INT late down the stretch. That was really pretty bad.
So let's say it goes Buffalo. So the winner of let me break this down. See if we get a Super Bowl winner. Okay, second round: Buffalo, Miami in Buffalo. Who you got?
Buffalo all day.
Okay. Then you got Kansas City. Who do you like in Cincinnati, Tennessee? Who did you pick?
I got Cincy.
Okay, Kansas City, Cincy in Kansas City.
Yep.
Who?
That's a great question. Fuck, man. Flip a coin. Flip a coin. Cincy's got Burrow just steps up in those moments, man. My mind's telling me Chiefs, but my body's telling me Cincy.
No,
you know
that
what
big
I mean?
bag of Burrows is telling you no. That's what
That big bag. That's exactly right. I also have a big bag of Mahomes, so it doesn't really matter. But
there you go. Okay, so let's just say it's Cincy. Let's say they beat them 4 straight. Then you got the Bengals at Buffalo to go to the Super Bowl, NFC Championship.
Buffalo. The Great White Buffalo.
You don't think that the Von Miller injury rears its ugly head in that game and gives?
Dude, I'm not an analyst. I don't know. I'm just going from right here, my man. I'm just going from right here.
If that Von Miller injury was going to be a problem for the Bills, it'd be against Burrow. You know, it'd be right there
for sure.
AFC Championship on that last drive of the game when Burrow just does that and hits Chase for a 60-yarder. All right, so you got the Bills on one side. NFC quickly. Philly's the 1 seed with a first-round bye. Then you have the number 7 Seahawks at the number 2 Vikings.
That's a good one. I like Cousins. I like the Vikings to win this one just because I think the Seahawks they're a great team. They crushed their draft. Geno Smith is for real, but I just think the Vikings are too all in on this season not to win that game.
Okay, fair enough. How about the number 6 Giants at the number 3 49ers?
Niners all day. They got way more talent on both sides of the ball.
Big one here. The number 5 Dallas Cowboys at the number 4 Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, Cowboys.
Cowboys roll. Okay, that would take us to the Philadelphia Eagles at home against the San Francisco 49ers.
I want to see more of Purdy before I make a decision, but I just don't see anybody beating the Eagles other than the Cowboys.
How about the San Francisco 49ers at home against the Dallas Cowboys? Oh, that'd be a good one.
It'd be an awesome game. I mean, that would come down to like a pick 6 or a punt return for a touchdown. But I think
we'd be seeing replays of the catch all week long. They love to do that when the 49ers and the Cowboys square away. They got a lot of big games in the past.
It'd be an awesome one. Man. I don't know. I can't speculate. I just like to collect cards, man.
You got to pick
I just like to collect cards. Cowboys.
Cowboys. Okay. Cowboys at Eagles to go to the Super Bowl.
Cowboys.
Boom. How about a Cowboys-Bills Super Bowl? Wow.
Bills. I think Allen's better.
Just to see than Dak. Oh God. Just to see Jerry Jones get that close and then him not win it might be too much for his heart. I don't know
I agree.
that he'll be able to come back for the next season.
I'm pretty sure he'd be sleeping just soundly on one of his 5 super yachts. But he wants it, man. That's the thing about the Cowboys is that they look good every single year. Like last year, they looked awesome. They were scary. They blew teams out. They had playmakers on both sides of the ball. Last year felt like the year that they were supposed to win it, and they came up short. And so they obviously always disappoint, and you can't discount that. But it's there. You count them out until they win. And so I'm going to say I think that this is the year, just because they're getting hot at the right time, and Dak's fully healthy, and there's too many blue chippers on defense. It's just hard to say. It's just hard to bet against them, even with all of the like Cowboys losing the first round every year stuff.
I'll tell you one thing, and we can sort of close with this possibly. I think,
and this is, by the way, this is from a huge Commanders fan. This is someone who, in my soul, hates the Cowboys.
Okay, but then we'll call that as best of an objective take as you're able to muster. Is that fair?
Okay, that's fair.
You can see there's going to be some humongous games in the NFL playoffs.
Amen.
I liken collecting NFL cards to smoking crack.
It's the best.
And like you said, it's a religious experience on Sundays when you sit down and sort of watch your portfolio play. So yeah, hey, if you're a baseball only guy or basketball only guy, or you've been sitting out on the sidelines for a while, just waiting for things to come down, go out and grab something before the playoffs. Get your team, get your quarterback, maybe a Justin Jefferson play or a CeeDee Lamb play if you're into the B stuff. But go get a
Mahomes, Silver Prism PSA 9. $800-900. It's a lot of money, but also not a lot of money for this hobby. You can see a little bit of upside. It's not going to go down if they lose that much. It's a fun piece of stock to own. It's like owning Apple. It's like you're buying Apple right before their quarterly earnings report.
And then my recommendation for around that same price is go get you a nice PSA 10 color match, whether it's blue or blue eyes of Micah Parsons. He's going to be a machine. The Cowboys
preferably from Brian. Preferably buy it from Brian.
No, I'm not selling. Hey, let me share this one thing. I did make a big play at the Dallas Card Show Junior today. I had 2 of the Micah Parsons Blue Eyes 10s, and I was able to trade one of them at the higher price I got it for, which is $750, for this Dwayne Wade. And I'm not a Dwayne Wade fan, but I think this card is just iconic. It's a PSA 10 refractor rookie, 2003 tops, did $20K back when PPP loans were flowing like water through the hobby. And let's just say I got it for about less than 10% of that. So yeah, pretty happy with that.
Big W. It's so fun when you can get your hands on a card that was so out of reach not too long ago. That's a really good feeling. I got a couple of those in my collection right now, and I'm very excited about them.
Well, this was fun. This was the debut of, we still don't even have a title for this show, but our other partner, Josh, couldn't make it tonight, but he'll be with us next week, hopefully. And the idea is to eventually move this off of USA Patriot Cards onto a new channel that the 3 of us are going to kind of try to build up from the ground up. It's going to be called Decentralized Cards. But we'll talk about that more. I just thought we'd roll these out on my channel initially because I have, a whopping 200 subscribers. So we're going to get the word out. We're going to make this happen because we love it. And it's a good way to scratch that hobby itch without spending that hard-earned dollar.
There you go.
It was fun. There you go.
This was a good time. And I'll see you on the other side, my friend.
Yes, sir.